Hey everyone, and welcome to this Market Pulse Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into the high-stakes manufacturing reality of implant-grade titanium body jewelry. We're going to pull back the curtain on a truly global supply chain, one that takes raw titanium sponge and transforms it into these incredibly precise laser-etched pieces of jewelry. Honestly, it's this fascinating intersection of metallurgy, global economics, and really strict medical standards. Okay, let's dive right into this. Here's our agenda for today. First up, the market boom. Then we'll look at aerospace versus implant grade, the global supply chain, the million-dollar moat, anodizing and the proof in physics, and finally, verifying the provenance.
Section 1. The titanium market boom. So to really wrap our heads around this space, we've got to realize that body jewelry, it's no longer just some niche fashion segment. It has completely matured into a serious, heavy-hitting industrial market. Right now, the titanium market is growing at a massive compound annual growth rate of 7.1%. And you know why? Because consumers and regulators alike are flat out demanding implant-grade materials for anything that has prolonged contact with the human body. The financial stakes here are absolutely massive right out of the gate. The manufacturers who are actually investing in real certification, they're capturing all this incredible growth. Meanwhile, the ones cutting corners, they're just being left behind in a shrinking, unregulated corner of the fashion world.
Moving on to Section 2, Aerospace versus Implant Grade.
First things first, we have to clear up what ASTM F136 actually is. It is not a brand name, and it's definitely not just a catchy marketing term. It is a strictly controlled material specification published by ASTM International. It defines the exact, down-to-the-molecule chemical composition required for what's known as ELI, or extra-low interstitials alloy. This is literally the exact same standard used for major surgical implants. We're talking hip replacements and spinal fusion cages here.
And this brilliantly illustrates a major industry myth. It's actually kind of ironic, but standard aerospace material, which sounds incredibly high-tech, right? Well, it actually lacks the strict limits necessary to be safely put inside your body. Implant grade requires oxygen to be capped at a maximum of 0.13% and iron at 0.25%. Aerospace grade, on the other hand, allows for higher interstitial content, up to 0.20% for oxygen and 0.30% for iron. Now that might sound like a tiny difference, but that slight bump in oxygen and iron directly impacts how the metal behaves during prolonged tissue contact. I mean, biocompatibility doesn't really matter for a jet engine, but it is literally everything for a healing piercing.
Which brings us to Section 3, the global supply chain.
So if we look at the global picture, the supply chain really splits into three main geographic hubs. It's a pretty fascinating boardroom-style overview of how this all works. First, China dominates the production of the raw material and the semi-finished bar stock. But, and this is a big but, the quality there varies wildly depending on the mill certification. Next, that material usually travels over to Thailand, which has completely emerged as this powerhouse hub for metal injection molding, or MIM. They're using highly advanced, cutting-edge equipment over there. Finally, the semi-finished pieces head off to the US and Europe for final finishing. That includes the precise machining, the anodizing, autoclave packaging, and honestly, the most important part, handling the actual certification documentation.
Section 4. The million-dollar moat. Now, you might be wondering, why doesn't every single jewelry company just make their own perfectly threaded titanium pieces? Well, there's a massive financial barrier to entry. To set up just one world-class metal injection molding production line, you are looking at over $1 million in capital investment, and that's before a single barbell is even produced. For example, in Thailand's MEM hubs, these facilities are using German Arberg molding machines that cost roughly $148,000 each, and they pair those with German Elnick sintering furnaces that run about $625,000 a pop. That kind of massive investment creates a very real, very deep moat against cheap competitors.
And honestly, that million-dollar investment directly impacts the person wearing the jewelry. Think about internally threaded pieces, where the bar has female threads so you don't irritate the tissue when you insert it. Trying to create internal threads at these tiny 0.9 or 1.2 millimeter diameters, it requires just immense precision. With MIM technology, that precise thread geometry is formed directly inside the mold, rather than being cut out afterward. So if a barbell cross-threads, that is a manufacturing defect caused by cheap CNC machining. It is not a user error. High-end MIM completely eliminates that rough, tissue-irritating threading.
So what does this all mean? It really all comes down to understanding the certification gap. A manufacturer might look at uncertified, commercial-grade Chinese bar stock and think,
Hey, it's 40% cheaper. But here is the danger. That uncertified metal can be used to make jewelry that looks completely identical to the naked eye, yet it will utterly fail as an implant-grade material. It absolutely will not hold up to independent assay. The packaging might boldly say titanium, but guys, it's not ASTM F136.
Section 5. Anodizing, proof in physics. We all know titanium for those gorgeous, vibrant blues, purples, golds, and teals, right? But here's the kicker. Those colors aren't a paint. They aren't a plating or some PVD coating that's going to eventually chip off into a healing piercing. The color is actually created through anodizing. Basically, this process involves passing an electric current through the titanium while it's submerged in an electrolyte bath, and that current thickens the naturally occurring titanium dioxide layer on the surface of the metal. By applying different voltages, you get different thicknesses of this oxide layer. So, the colors you see, they aren't a dye. It is literally just light refracting at different wavelengths through a thickened molecular layer. It is pure physics.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is the implication here. An anodized oxide layer is the titanium. It's not just sitting on top of the metal, it is the metal itself, transformed at the molecular level on the surface. And that's exactly why it maintains perfect biocompatibility, whether it's a bright blue or a shiny gold. The oxide layer creating that beautiful light refraction is the exact same titanium dioxide that makes the metal safe for the human body to begin with.
All right, Section 6, verifying the provenance.
So, we've walked through the global supply chain, the crazy expensive machinery, and the physics. Let's bring this explainer home with some actionable market intelligence for studio owners and buyers so you can protect your businesses and your clients. If you want to separate true, certified product from empty marketing claims, you need to treat these 3 steps like strict forensic evidence. Step 1. Check for laser etching. Reputable manufacturers will actually laser etch the ASTM F136 specification directly onto the jewelry itself, not just on the little plastic bag it comes in. That isn't just decoration, it is verifiable provenance. Step 2. Demand batch certification. Ask your supplier for the mill test certificate for that specific batch. If they can't get that to you within 48 hours, you should probably assume it's not implant grade. And finally, Step 3. Test the thread quality. High-quality MIM internal threads are going to thread smoothly and consistently every single time.
I really want to leave you with this final thought today. The market is demanding higher standards, and as we've seen, the science absolutely supports exactly why those standards exist. Investing in real certification captures that 7.1% market growth we talked about. Ignoring it, well, that just leaves you entirely behind. So ask yourself, are you buying true implant-grade provenance, or are you just falling for mystery metal marketing? Thanks so much for joining me on this deep dive into the Market Pulse, and definitely keep asking those hard questions about where your materials really come from.